Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. This is the quick Bitcoin and the overall market update. Um, First of all, we would take a look at the Bitcoin chart, the USDT dominance chart, total 2 chart, others.d, Ethereum Dodge, and then I would move to the chart requests part. If you guys have any specific questions, any queries, any chart requests, please make sure to drop it in the chat box. Okay, let's start with the Bitcoin update. So price right now is trading around 80,670. And first of all, let me show you uh, this chart right here, this blank chart right here, which is actually telling you that the next big support for Bitcoin, it's basically around 73,000 to $74,000 region, right? Starting from 73,781 and down to at least 70,540. So first of all, this is the next big support for Bitcoin. And if you are planning to take a swing long position, if you're planning to build a swing long position on Bitcoin, then in my opinion, you should be waiting for this region right here, this level right here. Not only this 73,000, 70,000 level, it's a strong support. You can see that on the daily time frame chart, we had multiple rejections around this level. But at the same time, it's the previous all-time high also, right? And if you guys have been watching some of my previous live streams, you would know this thing that even if you don't have an established support at the previous all-time high, it still acts as a very strong support region, right? And same is true for the all-time low as well. But this strategy works flawlessly in the case of all-time high usually. So first of all, what's the basic definition of a support, or what's the basic definition of a level in general? So price needs to react at a certain point at least 3 times. It could be in the form of bounce, it could be in the form of a rejection, and only then you would say that, okay, this actually is a level, right? It could be a support, it could be a resistance. If price is trading above that level, it's going to be termed as a support. If price is trading below that level, it's going to be termed as a resistance. It's as simple as that. But in the case of all-time high, let's suppose this was the all-time high and price, this is not an established support, right? Price only got rejected from this point only once. And then we simply just had a break above this level. Price consolidates a little bit. Even in that scenario, even in that situation, this region is still going to act as a strong support level, right? So remember this thing, this strategy is, very powerful, especially with the bigger market cap coins. Whenever you see price breaking above the previous all-time high, even if it's not an established support, even if there is no established support present around in that region, that level is still going to act as a very strong support level, right? So same is true for the Bitcoin chart also. This level right here, 73,000 to 70,000, not only this is a strong support, and that too on the higher time frame charts, on the daily time frame chart, but at the same time it's a previous all-time high also. So in my opinion, if you are looking to build any swing long position on Bitcoin, then you should simply just wait for price to fall back down to 73,000 to 70,000, and your stop loss should be at least a manual 4 hour or 1 day close below 65,000 or 67,000 low, and then you can simply just target the 94 to $95,000 region, right? Or whatever the next all-time high is. This is for those people who are planning to build a swing long position. Now we don't have a similar kind of opportunity for the swing short position. The best possible opportunity was when price was retesting this neckline of the double top pattern. I remember doing the live stream at least 2 weeks ago when I clearly talked about the importance of this double top pattern. Probably I was the only one emphasizing that, okay, there is a double top pattern present on the price chart. We know that the double top pattern, it's a very strong reversal sign. Same is true for the double bottom as well. It's a very strong bullish reversal sign, and this is a very strong bearish reversal sign. Same is true for the head and shoulder chart pattern and the inverse head and shoulder chart patterns. And if you would personally ask me, what are your personal 4 favorite patterns or 2 or 3 most favorite patterns, and I would simply just say that double top, double bottom, head and shoulders, and inverse head and shoulders. The rest of these chart patterns, yes, they are important, but these chart patterns, especially in the higher time frame charts, they are really, really important. Okay. I remember almost a month or 2 ago, I showed you the chart for virtuals, I showed you the chart for Altcoin, and I showed you a very clear formation of head and shoulder chart pattern. And in both the cases, while virtuals, I guess, was trading around $1.50, I was predicting at that time that it would go down to 60 cents and 50 cents, right? And this is what exactly happening, because, I'm not making up any of these things. Head and shoulder chart pattern, inverse head and shoulder chart pattern, then double top, double bottom, they are actually very important reversal signs. Okay, so on the Bitcoin chart also, 2 weeks ago when we were doing this live stream, I clearly mentioned that we have a double top chart pattern. So, you know, the authenticity of this pattern can only be confirmed once price breaks below the neckline. So double top chart pattern basically has three elements. The first one is the first peak, the second one is the second peak, the third one is the neckline. And the authenticity of this pattern is only confirmed once price breaks below this neckline. And not only price was breaking below the neckline, unfortunately, we were not able to execute that short position because Trump at that time was going nuts. Okay. He was making announcements about strategic Bitcoin reserve and all that, and that too on Sunday, that too on weekend. But anyways, this short position, in my opinion, if you guys remember the update, I called it the big short. And that really was a big short, in my opinion. That really was a generational opportunity to short Bitcoin around 94,000, 95,000, because on the higher time frame charts, you hardly see all of the confluences aligning in one direction so perfectly. Because you see, you have a double top chart pattern, then price broke below the neckline. So the first line of resistance is basically this neckline of this double top chart pattern, right? This is the first line of resistance. This is the first defense line for the bears, right? The second one is this daily time frame resistance level. The third one is this trend line. We know that whenever price breaks below the trend line, it would ultimately go back up and retest the retest the trend line back again. In this situation, it's going to be called as a bearish retest of the trend line. And then finally, while price was breaking above this resistance level, it also created a perfect nice deviation. So this was a deviation, and this deviation retest was once again a very good opportunity to get into this big short. In my opinion, the reason I'm calling this big short is because you could have caught the move from 92,000, 93,000 all the way down to 73,000, because this is where I'm expecting the price to go back down to. So that's a 20% move, and who knows, if price struggles to hold around 73,000 or $70,000 region, then there is every possibility that we may ultimately go back down to 50,000 and 60,000 also, because in my personal opinion, $50,000 to $55,000 region is where price may find some kind of stability. Okay, the reason is because the average mining cost of one Bitcoin, if you're using the most sophisticated equipment in the world, taking into account the electricity cost and everything, is still around $50,000 to $53,000 region. All right. During the last cycle, the average cost for mining one Bitcoin, it was around $15,000 to $25,000, right? And a lot many people at that time were clearly saying this thing that the price on the Bitcoin chart, it cannot go below $15,000 or $20,000 region, or it cannot stay for a longer period below 20,000 or 15,000. The reason is because the whole system won't be efficient for the majority of the people, right? The whole system is no longer going to be beneficial, or the system is no longer going to be profitable. I would highly recommend that you guys go and research into game theory. It's a very popular theory, and it gives you similar kind of insight. So all the market participants, be it people who are trading Bitcoin, be it people who are trading crypto in general, or be it people who are mining crypto, be it people who are mining Bitcoin, all these big mining companies, they would only continue to participate in this system overall if the system is beneficial to them, if they are getting something out of this system. Okay, and this is the argument that was being presented at that time as the reason why Bitcoin cannot go below 15,000 or 20,000, or cannot stay below these levels for a longer period of time, because otherwise the system is no longer going to be beneficial for the majority of the people. The average mining cost for Bitcoin, and this is exactly what we saw happen a few months ago as well. Okay, when the halving happened back in the last April, the average mining cost for mining one Bitcoin increased from 15 to 25,000 all the way up to 50 to $55,000 region. And that was being presented as an average price, that was being presented as a threshold price below which Bitcoin cannot stay for a longer period of time. And this is exactly what we saw happen back in August 2024 also. We had a crash down to 49,000, 50,000, but price did not stay below that level for a longer period of time. So, if a bigger crash happens, because I know this is the question that most people are, interested in, that, if a crash happens, how far down we can basically go. In my personal opinion, if a crash happens, if a bigger crash happens, then you can expect price to go at least down to 50,000 to $55,000 region. But be rest assured that we have a strong support present around $73,000 region for the time being. I'm not saying that if a bounce happens from 73,000, it would straight away take us all the way up to 150,000 or 180,000, because, no matter how good the support is, you cannot predict the intensity of the reaction, right? I can guarantee you one thing, that because this support has not been retested before, I can show you countless charts, I can show you countless examples of this. In almost 99.99% of the cases, if a support level has not been retested before, whenever the first retest happens, no matter how bad the conditions are, no matter what the fundamentals are like, no matter how the macroeconomic situation is like, technicals, they obviously are playing out all the time. So, with that being said, you would expect some kind of reaction around 73,000 to $70,000 region. Obviously, you cannot predict the intensity of the reaction, because the next immediate resistance is going to be somewhere around 80,000 to 82,000. So you can at least expect a bounce from 73,000, 72,000, all the way up to 82,000 to 83,000. Okay, this is the first statement. So if you're planning to build a swing long position, then I would highly recommend that instead of doing it somewhere in the middle of nowhere, okay, instead of doing it somewhere in the middle of nowhere, the reason why I'm saying this is because whenever you are in doubt, whenever you are confused, simply just go to the higher time frame charts, zoom out of your chart and go to the higher time frame. And this is exactly what you can see. On the higher time frame charts, on the daily time frame chart, this is the only strong resistance level around 92,000, 93,000, and this is the only strong support level around 73,000 to $70,000 region. And this is exactly why you would see that price in between these regions is not going to give you anything important. Whenever price goes back up to, let's suppose price goes up to 82,000, 83,000, it would have a small rejection down to 79,000, maybe 77,000. But once price goes up to 92,000, 93,000, because on the higher time frame charts, you can basically see this for yourself, okay? The image is right in front of you, the screen is right in front of you. You see this and decide for yourself where the next support is and where the next resistance is. You would notice that anything that's happening, in between these two levels, it's simply just noise, okay? You can play around with this going to the smaller time frame charts, but noise, it's a very bad thing. You need not to blur your visions. You need not to blur your vision, whenever you are trading. And if you're looking to catch bigger moves than 92,000, 93,000, this still, in my opinion, is a strong support, a strong resistance level. Although we have missed two very golden opportunities. The first one was when this neckline was being retested. At the same time, the bearish retest of the trend line was also happening. At the same time, the resistance retest was also happening. And then the next opportunity was when this deviation retest was happening. We know that whenever the deviation happens, the deviation retest, it usually is a very good opportunity to take a long or a short position. All right. So this is my, viewpoint about the current Bitcoin chart and the current situation, the overall situation right now. Let's take a quick look at the USDT dominance chart. Now, if you are scalping, or even if you are planning to trade on the 4-hour time frame charts, obviously you cannot just continue to wait for Bitcoin to either go up to 92,000 or simply just drop down to 73,000. You would still have to catch, or you would still want to catch the moves that are happening in between these levels, right? And in that situation, I would sincerely recommend that instead of looking at the Bitcoin chart, instead of getting chopped in this noise on the Bitcoin chart, I would highly recommend that you take a look at the USDT dominance chart, because USDT dominance chart is truly giving you a level by level move or analysis, right? You can see that we are reacting at the support level. We were getting rejected at this resistance level, then we came back up, right? We created a deviation, then we rejected around this resistance level, then this resistance level, then this resistance level, then the next resistance level. So all you have to do is, on the USDT dominance chart, go to the 4-hour time frame. Just try drawing these support and resistance level. If you have difficulty doing that, simply just let me know, and I would share the link of this layout with you. Simply just copy paste that link in your browser, and that layout would open, in your TradingView terminal. You can simply just copy and paste that in your TradingView terminal, and you can start using the same chart. But it's not very difficult in my opinion. If you have very basic knowledge about support and resistance, you would still be able to draw it. You can see that this is the next resistance level, this was the next resistance level, and this is exactly why I took those two short positions yesterday. The reason was because Bitcoin apparently was sitting comfortably around 80,000, 81,000, but at the same time USDT dominance, it was sitting in the middle of nowhere. You can already see that, and you can see this and decide for yourself that the next resistance for USDT dominance was still this one. Even if I remove this rectangle box, you can see that the most amount of rejections were happening in this area, right? So this was definitely your choice of resistance on the USDT dominance chart, and you can see that how precisely price wicked into this level, or how precisely price wicked into this level. This was the deviation, and this was a deviation retest. Price fell back down to this support level, and then once again got rejected around here, then dropped back down to this support level. And okay, so this is the next resistance level, you can see that, and this is the next support. The only good part in this whole situation is that I recently realized that there is this trend line, upward forming trend line on the USDT dominance chart. You can see that although this is not the perfect example of an upward forming trend line, price on the USDT dominance chart had a rejection at this resistance level, then dropped back down to this support. It's still bouncing off this support. This was the first retest of this support, and we know that the first retest in most of the cases is usually a successful one. And not only this, if you would open up the Bitcoin chart, you would notice that 82,000, 83,000, there is some kind of resistance present around in that level. Now, what exactly is the problem right now? Okay, the problem is that, okay, the only good part, first of all, is that we have this upward forming trend line, which means that on the USDT dominance chart, if we continue to stay in this region, and by the way, if you guys have no knowledge about the importance of trend lines, I would highly recommend following my update. For those of you who are already following my updates and live streams and all that, you would know how important these trend lines are, right? Every move that's happening, almost 90% of them can be interpreted in the form of a trend line, right? In this situation, you can see that this breakout on the USDT dominance chart happened because of this trend line. This break down on the Bitcoin chart happened because of this upward forming trend line. And this move towards upside on the USDT dominance chart happened because of this downward forming trend line. Now, in terms of trend lines, there is this upward forming trend line on the USDT dominance chart, and there is a possibility that, and I don't really think that this support right here on the USDT dominance chart is a strong one, and that's why I have been avoiding taking any new short positions. Yes, I'm placing the limits for any short positions. The reason why I'm not doing it around the current market prices, although there are a few good charts available where you can place some short positions around the current market price, but the reason why I'm not doing so is because USDT dominance is not looking good sitting on this support level, right? You had a big rejection at this resistance level, and which is a good thing for the bulls, which is a good thing if you're holding something in spot, or if you're planning to take any long positions, because once we continue to consolidate in this region, very soon we are about to break below this trend line. Because one thing about trend line is 100% confirmed usually that sooner or later price would break below the trend line or above the trend line. And since in this case this is the upward forming trend line, so obviously price sooner or later is about to break below this trend line, which means that Bitcoin still has a chance to go up to at least 88,000, 89,000, and that's where we would try shorting, because this support level has not been retested on USDT dominance. There is a deviation below that support. I already have 3 alerts placed in these levels. So if by any chance USDT dominance drops back down to this support, you can see that the deviation happened below that support. This is going to be the first deviation retest. You can close your eyes and take that short position on Bitcoin, okay? Because this deviation retest, 99% chances that this deviation retest on the USDT dominance chart is going to be a successful one. And this is not just about the deviation retest. I don't have enough time to show this because once again, I'm short on time. I have to do my packing. I have to travel tomorrow. But if you guys have been following the dynamic lines that I usually talk about, for example, 1-day 12-period exponential moving average, quarterly VWAP, yearly VWAP, TVEM band, you would notice that almost all of these higher time frame dynamic lines, not on the 4-hour time frame chart obviously because they are kind of reactive to the price, but on the higher time frame charts, these dynamic lines would be kind of slow, okay? And most of them are centered around in this region. And this is exactly why this bounce right here was not an arbitrary bounce. This bounce right here happened because of the TVEM band. This is TVEM band, right? You can see this for yourself that the bounce happened because of TVEM band. And if you guys want access to TVEM band, unfortunately, TradingView once again has removed the TVEM band, from the indicators tab, citing a few reasons which are ridiculous in my opinion. You would have to simply just DM me, and I would share the script with you. You can go into your TradingView terminal, maximize panel, go into Pine editor, copy paste that script, and you would be able to use TVEM band. For those of you who are already using it, it's fine. Please do not remove it from your favorites. Please do not delete it, because once it's deleted, you would have to once again use the script. You would have to use a second method, right? If you don't have access to TVEM band, I have tried publishing it at least at 3 different occasions, but for some reason, their moderators, after a few days, they would come back to me saying that, we are not allowed to publish this script. There are a few problems in the script, or, issues like that. And that's why I'm not planning to publish it back again. If you would like to have access to it, you would simply just have to DM me. All right. So on the USDT dominance chart, it's looking weak right now. You can see this for yourself that even though soon after the market open, New York open, we had a small bounce of this level on the, on the 4-hour time frame support, but still I'm not expecting USDT dominance to, bounce hard off this support and create a new higher high, at least for the time being. But you cannot rule out this thing, because not only this is sitting on the small 4-hour time frame support, but at the same time, because this is an uptrend, there is a clear higher high formation, right? Higher high and higher low. And in these kind of circumstances, whenever there is a clear higher high and higher low formation, all you have to do is just simply take out your fib tool, draw from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, and start taking a long position around 61-65% fib level. Since this is USDT dominance chart for an index, you cannot trade it. But at the same time, on the Bitcoin chart, you would find something similar, because price has been making these lower lows and lower highs. All you have to do is take out your fib tool, draw from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, and you can see that price has been, rejecting around 61-65% fib level. But still, I would not recommend taking any short positions right now. I'm not in favor of taking any shorts right now, but still we are not out of the danger zone. If this this formation continues, then eventually, because we are getting rejected around 65% fib level, we should be creating a new lower low. And once again, you cannot rule out the possibility of having a new lower low, because this formation, it's still intact. On the 4-hour time frame chart, we still have a very clear bearish formation, which means that if price continues to have rejection around here, then eventually we should be forming a new lower low, which in my opinion most probably is going to be around 73,000, and that's when you can start taking any swing long positions. All right, I would highly recommend that instead of getting getting caught in this chop zone somewhere in the middle of nowhere between 92,000 and 73,000, you should still be waiting for you should still be waiting for 73k or 92k in order to build one good swing position. And instead of focusing on the Bitcoin chart, you still have good opportunities on Ethereum, you still have good opportunities on Dogecoin, on a few other altcoins. You can focus on all of these opportunities. One update that I shared last night in my channel also, unfortunately, including Ethereum, Doge, and almost all of these 70-80% of bigger market cap coins, they already have broken below their higher time frame support levels, which means that from this point onwards, there are only going to be good shorting opportunities, right? But you cannot do that immediately. For example, if I show you the chart for Doge, and these are the 2 short positions that I shared with you a few hours ago, Sol surprisingly has been this one coin which did not break below the level, which did not break below its higher time frame support around 115, 116. So we still have a long position on Solana open. You can see that this was a small deviation. This long position or spot position has already been filled. So you can see that we had a small deviation below that support level, and this is turning out to be the deviation retest. And if I show you the daily time frame chart for Sol, you can see that we are still holding above this level. And there have been a few instances in the past also where price had a deviation below that support, and then the next time when this deviation retest happened, it was a very good opportunity. For example, this was a deviation, this was a deviation retest, this was deviation, this was deviation retest, this was deviation, this was deviation retest. And in this situation, since this is deviation, so let's just pray that the deviation retest happens to be a successful one. We only have two spot positions open. One is on hype, the second one is on soul. Hype is almost break even, soul is slightly above the entry point, it just got filled. I'm expecting that if we are able to catch this move, then you can at least expect a reaction all the way up to $186 region on the Solana chart, right? But the thing that I was talking about is that a few other short positions that we placed, for example, the chart for ADA, you can see that we just had a break below this level. The reason why I've rated this at 9 out of 10 is because, first of all, price almost always reacts to this level, this daily time frame support or resistance level. And secondly, there are quite a few important dynamic lines on the higher time frame daily chart present around in this level, which means that this still is a good 9 out of 10 rated setup. You can see that although price had a break below this daily time frame support level, it has already flipped it into a resistance, but it would take some time for price to go back up to this resistance level. And that's why I'm saying that instead of shorting at the current market price, you need to keep some room for Bitcoin price to go up to at least 92,000. So here is the plan. Wait for Bitcoin to go up to 88,000, 89,000 and place some limits on these major market cap coins. For example, we have ADA, for example, we have Dogecoin, because they are also quite far below from the next resistance levels. So, in case of ADA, it's still almost, it has to increase almost 11%, 12%. It will have to go up at least 11%, 12% to hit this resistance level. And that's where I'm expecting a major rejection to happen from, right? Similar is the case with the Dogecoin as well. Let me show you the chart for Dogecoin. Where is Doge? I guess this, yeah. So in this situation also, you can see that this was the important support level that we had a break below, and now it's trading under this level. There is no point shorting Doge right now because currently it's sitting in the middle of nowhere. I would still recommend waiting for price to go back up to this resistance level, and that's when you can start shorting, right? Okay, now let's just quickly move to the 𝗍𝗏𝗏 chart, because this is the most important chart when it comes to the mid market cap and low market cap coins. You can see that 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗏, it has already broken below this trend line. One thing that we know about trend lines is that price sooner or later would always break above or below the trend line. That thing is 100% sure, right? In this situation, you can see that the last night's massacre happened mainly because 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗏, it had a break below this trend line. But 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗏 is sitting at a very important point. You can already see that not only it broke below this important trend line, but at the same time, it's also attempting to break below this important support level. Almost has broken below this very important support level. So in a short to mid term, all of these mid to low market cap coins, they're absolutely cooked once we break below this important support level, because once we break below, we would continue to consolidate in this region and then we would go back up, and that's once again going to be another good shorting opportunity on the altcoins, right? So this is my update about 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It has still not been able to break above the resistance level that we had a break below, which was acting as a support, which we had a break below back in 3rd of Feb. You can see that from 3rd of Feb all the way to 10th of March, you had every opportunity to build long positions on altcoins when 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was sitting at this support, and build short positions on altcoins when 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was sitting at this resistance level. Every time it went back up to this resistance level, that was a good shorting opportunity on altcoins. Total 2 is presenting a slightly good picture in my opinion. And if you would go and read my last update, I clearly mentioned this thing. Okay, clearly mentioned this thing. Let me read that update for you. The update on Total 2 that I shared just this morning, and that update clearly was telling you what to do. Okay, so this update says that Total 2 gave a break below another important trend line on daily, which was information since August 24. That's not relevant. But for now, Total 2 has retested an important daily support. This is a support that I'm talking about in my update. But the next line says that November 6th, and the good part is that we had a deviation below that support. Okay, so you may have seen me, you may have heard me talking about deviation quite a few times during this live stream. This is what we call deviation, right? This was an important support level, so we had a deviation below that support, and I'm clearly saying that the good part is that we had a deviation below this support, and the deviation retest, this my friends is deviation retest, and a deviation retest in next few hours or days after this is going to be a very good opportunity to build long positions or buy alts in spot for a short run, but mainly the bigger market cap ones. All right. So, the one that we already executed was the position on Solana. I'm clearly saying that because this is a very important support level for total 2, right? You cannot expect total 2 to easily break below this important support level. You can see this for yourself that we had a break above this level back on 6th of November, right? Now we are retesting this support first time after November 6th. One thing that we know about support and resistance levels is that the first retest is always a single best opportunity to take a long or a short position, because we're talking about total 2. It's an index chart, so building long positions around this level when it's retesting a support is always going to be a good opportunity. But we cannot do that blindly. We need to see some kind of reaction, and because just last night we saw price deviating below, we saw deviation below this important support level, we know that the deviation retest is always going to be a good long opportunity. And you can see this for yourself how powerful the concept of deviation is. I just showed you the chart for Bitcoin also. 92,000 short, it was because of deviation retest. I showed you the USDT dominance chart also. I can show you countless examples. I can show you multiple examples of deviation retest happening to be a successful one. And this one example, you can see this for yourself. Price had a deviation below this important support level, then quickly came back up, which means that all these short positions, obviously, you cannot apply this concept here, because this chart you cannot trade. But if you could trade this chart, then the way that it works is that all those short positions who are stuck, who may be, people who took the short positions thinking that price is breaking below the support level, now they're stuck in this region. And whenever price goes back down to that level, once again giving the retest, all these people, they're going to close their short positions, break even, new long positions would start piling up. And that's why the deviation retest is such a powerful concept. Similar is the case with the resistance also. For example, if we look at the Bitcoin chart on the daily time frame, you would notice that the reason why this deviation was successful was because on that Sunday 2 weeks ago, people saw price breaking above this resistance level on the Bitcoin chart. They thought that, okay, the breakout is happening. They started aping into long positions around 93,000, 91,000, which ultimately resulted in deviation, because price had a major break above, then immediately deviated below this resistance level. So what happens is that whenever price goes back up to that level again, all these people who took their short positions around here, now they know that, okay, they did a mistake. They would want to close their short positions break even, because we know that people are stubborn. They wouldn't just have any kind of stop loss or any invalidation point. They would continue to hold these positions. And now whenever the deviation retest happens, all these people, they would try to close their short positions break even. We know that whenever the long positions are being closed, selling takes place. We know that whenever the short positions are being closed, buying takes place. And whenever these short positions are being exited, basically buying is taking, short positions are being long positions are being exited, selling takes place, because all these people who took the long positions thinking that, okay, the breakout has happened, they would try to close their long positions break even. And whenever the long positions are being closed, selling takes place. And not only the long positions are being closed, but at the same time people are aping into new short positions, which creates a massive wave, which creates a but to you guys. If you have any specific questions, any queries, please make sure to drop in the chat box. What's going on with auction? I have no idea what's going on with auction. We had a short position on auction. It gave us a 6% to 7% move. We moved stop loss to break even. My rule is that whenever the stop losses move to break even, I clearly mentioned this in the note also, whenever the stop losses move to break even, the trade is no longer valid, and you need to keep up with the updates part. Okay, let's take a look at the 𝗠IE chart also. I'm not planning to take any long position on 𝗠IE around the current market price. As far as I remember, let me see what long position. Yeah, so I'm planning to, you can see that 𝗠IE already had a break below this important support level. This was an important support. I'm not going to say that this actually has happened as of now, because there is no consolidation. You would need consolidation to say that, okay, the breakout or the breakdown has already happened. But yes, if you're planning to build any long-term position on 𝗠IE, then this next support gives you a perfect opportunity. Same is true for, for Solana. If you're waiting to build a good swing position, wait for $93 to $88. If you're looking to build a good swing position on Ethereum, you need to wait for 1500 to 1600. If you're waiting to build a good swing position on 𝗠IE, you need to wait for $1.71. And this is my viewpoint about 𝗠IE. All right. The last, I guess I looked at DOT just 24 hours ago, and at that time DOT was barely sitting above this important support level. And judging by whatever things have happened in the past 24 hours, I guess that it would have already broken below its support level, right? No, it's still sitting above the support. What's the chart we are looking at? Yeah, okay. So dot still is barely sitting above this level. You can see that it has not given you a precise break below this important daily support. Dot also has a history of deviating below the support level. So in my opinion, there is no good long opportunity on dot. The only good long opportunity is going to be, because this, if this turns out to be a deviation, let's set an alert around here. Okay, if dot breaks back above this level, then this would simply just be considered as a deviation. And then the next retest, it's going to look something like this. Then the next retest is going to be the deviation retest, and this is going to be very good long opportunity. You can see that this was deviation and this was deviation retest. So similar kind of deviation, if it happens around here, then you would have a very good long trigger on dot around $4.1 region, right? But if it continues to consolidate in this range and actually breaks below this level, then you would have a short trigger on dot around $3.9. But still, right now it's still sitting in the middle of nowhere. As far as I know, Rare still is in top gainers. Yeah, so these two were good long opportunities. You can see that we had a break above this resistance level, okay, then came back down and gave the first retest, and this was my personal long position on Rare. And then there was this second opportunity, once again had a break above this resistance level, flipped it into a support, then came back down, gave another long opportunity. But for now, in my opinion, you still don't have any good long opportunity on Rare, because it's still getting rejected at this resistance level. Let's set an alert around here on Rare, so that if it breaks above, we can take a long position in the very same manner. But if it continues to break below, and it would eventually, I don't know why exactly it's pumping, I have not looked at it, but if it continues to go down, then this is going to be a good short opportunity in my opinion on Rare. All right, short render, we had a good short on render. This was a short opportunity on render. Render, in fact, good two very good shorting opportunities. One was when Trump made that announcement. This was deviation, okay, and this was deviation retest. I don't know why so many of you were panicking on those short positions that I shared on that Sunday, even though I made the announcement that our shorts are fine and it's not going to make any difference. But for some reason, people were panicking, closing their short positions, and then later on blaming me, saying that why did Sherlock open too many short positions? But if no stop loss was hit, then why would you not just continue with the short position, right? Why would you not just continue to follow the same setup, right? NE. Okay, let's take a look at YNE. Okay, very simple chart on the 4-hour time frame chart. Just like most of these other coins, already had a break below this important support level, so has already turned this into a deviation. And you can see that this is what we call deviation and deviation retest. Successful one, right? So if you're planning to take any short position on this shit, whatever it is, because it's only listed over MEXC and its partner exchange 𝗘𝗍𝑒x, this is your short trigger, right? But if you are holding this in spot, then let me see quickly where exactly it's headed towards. We would have to reverse these levels. Yeah, 127% reaction. Perfect. This is perfect. So if you're holding this coin in spot, or if you're planning to buy it, or if you're planning to open any long position, so this is your long trigger. It's giving an absolutely perfect long trigger. Although the stop loss is going to be a bit wide, I cannot do anything about it. But this is the only place where you can plan to take any long position or buy this in spot, right? And you can still expect a reaction, at least a 200% reaction on it, right? Around 0.00658. This is by using fractal analysis. You can see that the next reaction was at 127% reaction, and how beautiful the reaction was. Price went up almost 171%. So definitely a reaction is happening at 161. Why? XRP is sitting on support. I was planning to take a short position on XRP, but then I just went with Sundog, and then there was this other MANEKI. But this was my short position on. This was my first short trigger on XRP. This was my second trigger on XRP for short position. But still, it did not have a good risk to reward ratio. You can see that only 2.57. But yes, XRP is just bouncing off that support level. I would not recommend taking any long or short position on XRP for now. Just wait for price to either break below this level, right? This is your short trigger, or just break back above. This is your long trigger. But in any case, this short trigger would still remain in place because this was a big deviation. So this is a deviation retest, which has not happened as of yet, which means that this still is going to be good shorting opportunity, and this is going to be a good long opportunity, and this is going to be another good short opportunity, right? This is my opinion about XRP. No longer valid. It moved down almost 10%, but just like with the rest of the coins, it quickly moved back up. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining in.